Nuendo 13 is here a mere 2 weeks after Cubase 13 was announced, which is very exciting news for Nuendo users because we used to have to wait months, sometimes even like a year for a new version of Nuendo to keep in line with Cubase. It just was the way it went for a good number of years, actually. This is a while ago now, but I have been a Nuendo user for a long time. I switched over to Cubase when I started doing the YouTube thing about 4 or 5 years ago. And recently, Steinberg sent over a copy of Nuendo 12 for me to play around with. And I do have a video that I'll point you to in the description, which I made about a year ago, and surprisingly with a mustache as well. And that video there, I talk about the reason for going to Nuendo over something like Cubase. And I sort of compared some of the features you only get in Nuendo. And that's a really important video. All of those things still stand. There's just some new things that they've brought to the table with Nuendo 13. But really, who the program is designed for is people who need post-production workflow enhancements. So some of the things it handles, like the surround sound capabilities of it, are much stronger than you would find in something like Cubase. You've got things like ADR, and there's new ADR features like the ability to give your talent who's doing the voiceover an iPad, and they can connect to the dialogue that is showing up in Nuendo, and they can cycle through the pages as they're going through their lines. But in my opinion, there are a lot of music producers who find themselves branching into sound design. And some of the sound design features are second to none in this program. So if you find yourself doing any kind of sound effects work, things like that, you definitely want to check into some of the differences in Nuendo and see if that would be something that would benefit you. I use it every day in a sound design capacity, making sound effects for these video games. And with this new version of Nuendo 13, not only are there new things exclusive to just Nuendo, but everything that just was announced for Cubase 13 is also in the new version of Nuendo. For me, the reason I switched over to Nuendo is because I started doing a lot more post-production work. So I was doing music and sound for videos. And recently, a year ago, I started doing music and sound for a Paw Patrol mobile video game. It's called Paw Patrol Academy. You can go check it out. And I've done all the music and the sound for that. You can hear my voice in there. I'm the voice of several characters in the game. It's a toddler's game, by the way. And my kids and my nieces and nephew are also the voices of the pups and Ryder. And it's been an amazing experience, but it's really pushed me into the post-production world even more than I've ever been before. And what we're going to do today is look at some of the sound restoration features that come specifically with the new version of Nuendo. So it's very exciting, in my opinion, to have these two new effects, really, which are the tonal match and the voice separator, exclusive to Nuendo 13. So we're going to play around with that. I've done some recordings of myself with different microphones in different locations, and we're going to compare the tonal match, which is where we can actually take the sound of one recording and imprint that onto the sound of another recording. The other one we're looking at is voice separator, which allows you to take the voice and remove it from the background, or remove the background noise from the voice. So you can keep either. And this is something as a video editor, because we do a lot of video production as well, something as a video editor that I encounter all the time. Every time you go film an interview somewhere, you're gonna have some kind of background noise. Other times we might get a good recording, but there's some loud sound that jumps in at one certain spot. And again, with this tonal match thing, what you could do is re-record that line and then punch that in, especially if you had to do it afterwards. You could tonal match it and then hopefully get the sound of the person in that space. Sometimes you want to match the noisy environment that something was in the first place. So very exciting stuff. Oh yeah, one more thing I'm going to show you in this one is how to separate vocals from a song. All the way back to Cubase 11, Nuendo 11 has this thing called Spectra Layers 1, and it's kind of their base model of separation software, so you can separate the vocals from the music, and if you get the Pro version, you can separate all the different stems from a recording, like the bass and the drums, etc. But in this new version, we've got an improved spectral layer, so we're just going to try it on a mix of a song and see how that works. Okay, so for the first one, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this leaf blower audio I captured of myself. It's got a lot of ambient noise in the background. This is a more realistic test of the leaf blower experiment where So you can hear this leaf blower in the background while I'm talking to the mic outside, and I'm using this Zoom recorder. And then we're going to try and match that with the large diaphragm condenser that I just recorded. And here's just an Audio-Technica 4040. This is a test of the new audio feature. First, we need to go into the direct offline processing menu. So you go up to Audio, Direct Offline Processing, or we press F7. And once I'm up here, I can choose a plugin or an effect to imprint onto this chunk of audio. That's how direct offline processing works. It's in Cubase and Nuendo, and it's a brilliant way to process just one little bit of audio as opposed to putting an effect on a track. So this is kind of the way we do things a lot in the sound design world. And it's a beautiful system. You can have like 30 different processes you've done to any chunk of audio, and you can undo any of them at any point in any order. Anyways, we go to Restoration under Steinberg, and we're going to go to Tonal Match. And what we need to do here is we need to set some references. So we're going to click the E button for this. Sound references are just where you're going to get your tonal characteristics from. So in this case, we want the lav in the studio to be a reference. We want maybe my large diaphragm condenser mic to be a reference. I'm also going to add the leaf blower audio to a sound reference. And so once I've done that, I can now click on the lav, and in this case, I'm going to try putting the noise onto the lav mic. This is a test of the new audio feature. It's kind of muffled compared to the leaf blower. This is a more realistic test. So it's brighter, and then it's got the background noise. So we're going to see if we can imprint that onto the lav. I know you'd be like, why would you want that? Well, sometimes you have just a generally noisy chunk of audio, and you need the one dubbed in piece of audio to also have that noise. Click on the Lav Studio here. We go to our plugin, and we go to Tonal Match. Of course, you can make a key command for this if you do it a lot. So now that I've done that, we're going to go to the reference. You can see that the zoom there with the leaf blower is already on. Let's just see what happens if we press play. This is a test of the new audio features in Nuendo 13. Wow. Matching audio is the dream of every sound editor. Let's see how this goes. I hit apply. And now my lav mic. This is a test of the new audio features in Nuendo 13. Matching audio is the dream of every... It now has that ambience from the crappy recording outside. So you can now make your audio sound just as equally crappy. I'm just messing with you, but you understand the power of this, right? You can take one recording and make it sound like another. Hear how it got brighter too. Let's just undo it so you can hear the difference. This is a test of the new audio features in Nuendo 13. Matching audio is the dream of every sound editor. Let's see how this goes. Okay, so my lav mic is actually really noisy, so I always have to put noise reduction on the lav. This is a test of the new audio features in Nuendo 13. It's also quite muffled. So if I were to boost those higher frequencies that are causing it to be muffled, I'd also be boosting the noise. So what I'll do with this one is use the other new effect, which is called Voice Separator. So Restoration Voice Separator. And let's have a listen to this. This is a test of the new audio features in Nuendo 13. Matching audio is the dream of every sound editor. For some reason, I do find that it always feels like it takes a little while to kick in. So sometimes what I might do with a chunk of audio like this is take another chunk, put it at the beginning so the analysis starts a little bit earlier. We're just going to bounce that file, Command B, and go to my processes, Voice Separator. Hopefully that noise reduction kicks in by the time the beginning of that word starts. Let's see how this goes. This is a test of the new audio features in Nuendo 13. I hit apply. So now we've got our denoised chunk of audio. This is a test of the new audio features in Nuendo 13 versus this. This is a test of the new audio features in Nuendo 13. And then let's listen very carefully with that to hear how it's affecting the voice. Matching audio is the dream of every sound. Undo it. Matching audio is the dream of every sound editor. We don't hear a lot of artifacts happening in the voice, which is fantastic. So once I've done the noise reduction on my lav mic, I'll always just put a little bit of EQ on it to bring back some of those higher frequencies. So let's get rid of this little intro thing, go to our channel settings. So now I can boost the high frequencies without worrying about bringing up the noise as well. Features in Nuendo 13. Matching audio is the dream of every sound editor. So that sounds pretty good to me. Okay, so the last thing I want to show you is just vocal separation with the Spectra Layers 1. I've got a song here by my friend Toby. I've had her on the channel many times. This is one of her tunes, one of her little jazzy tunes. And here you can hear the sample of it.
His name was Miles and he knew how to swing it when he played on his horn.
Okay, so we've got vocals, keys, bass, and drums. And all we need to do to remove vocals in Cubase or Nuendo is to go up to Audio, Extensions, and then Spectral Layers. We'll see it open up down here at the bottom. And then I'm going to click over on the Unmix tab, and we're just going to click Vocals. We just hit OK after we've chosen vocals. And in the full version, you can separate drums and stuff like that. But in this case, all we can do is the vocals. So it looks like this is taking, probably about 30 seconds here on an M1 MacBook Pro. Let's have a listen to that one now. Click solo.
Since the very day he was born, he birthed a new age in Evan's apartment with connets and mulligan.
Not too bad. And then we get the vocals out. That is pretty convincing to me. So there you go. You guys all have vocal separation if you have Cubase 11, Nuendo 11, and on, and potentially even better separation with the new version. So that kind of does it with my little dig into this new tonal match and voice separator. And it really is about time we had some noise reduction in Nuendo, so you don't have to go purchase that separately. In my opinion, Nuendo 13 has enough new features in it to make the whole update worth it, but they have to be features that you're going to use. So, if you have any more questions or comments about the program, hit me up in the comments. And thanks so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video.